Hey YouTubers, this is Andrew from CopyFeed TV coming at you again with another Photoshop tutorial. In this one we're going to go over how to whiten teeth. This is an important process because some of you will take photos and they're really good photos and you're smiling real big and everything's fine, but you just have that one tooth, two teeth, or many that you may want to whiten. This is a lengthy process. It's a little bit more complicated than what we normally do, so we're going to go over it step by step. First thing we're going to do is open our picture, and I have one pre-selected. I've titled it the original. What you want to do is you want to make sure you have a copy of it saved somewhere else, just in case you don't layer properly and you end up losing the integrity or the photo altogether. You have the original. The first step that we're going to do is we're going to select our Lasso Tool. This is the tool that's third down from the left on your left-hand toolbar, and we're going to go ahead and select that tool and draw our selection around the mouth. You do not have to be precise with this tool. You can just draw your selection around the teeth, or you can line the mouth. Either way, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So once we make the selection, what we're going to do is we're going to choose hue and saturation in an adjustment layer. So go ahead and click the adjustment layer icon, which is on the bottom where your layer panel is, and it looks like a circle that's cut in half. And we are going to go to hue and saturation, which is in the middle of the selection toolbar for this. And once we click that, you are going to see a bunch of different options and colors. We are going to select yellow yellows from the hue saturation edit list. So you'll see a couple things under default. You'll see a bunch of options, but we don't want to go there because this is going to make the picture different than what we want. We want to go where it says master, and we want to click the down arrow and go to yellows, or you can hit Alt 4 if you're using a PC, and that'll do it for you. The reason that the teeth are not white is because obviously there's too much yellow in them or there's stains, so what we need to do is remove the yellow, and to do that we have the hue saturation dialog box open, and we are going to drag the saturation slider in the middle of the dialog box all the way to the left, which desaturates or removes the yellow from the teeth, leaving them whiter. So where the saturation bar is, we're going to go ahead and we're going to drag it all the way, and now you see her teeth are obviously whiter. Her teeth now appear whiter because we've removed the yellow, but there's still some other steps that we have to do. We need to drag the lightness slider to the right to brighten them, because now they look like a dull white, and what we want to do is brighten them and make them look pearly or shiny like your original teeth would look. So as you drag it to the right, you can subtly see, and I'll zoom in on the picture so that you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the difference in the teeth, but you don't want them to look unnatural, so you want to deselected my yellow. So what you want to do is, as you go, they get brighter and brighter, slowly and slowly, and now they look too unnatural. So what you want to do is you want to keep the lightness slider. I usually do maybe +8 to +10 at the most, because you're going to have to go through and you're going to have to adjust it to however the grain of the picture is. So, you know, if you have a larger photo, or if you have one that's a little bit more in detail, then that's what you're going to have to do. Now, as you see, her teeth look white and look perfect. Now you can stop there, and that's an easy fix. Or some people like to use the different layers in order to touch up, and we'll go over that as well. Once you're done with this, you want to fill the hue saturation layer mask with black. So we are going to go to set the edit option back to master. Once we do that, we're going to drag the lightness slider again to the right to brighten the teeth. And see how you get your selection box underneath where we had used the lasso tool? That's where the selection was originally made. Now you can drag it as much as you want depending on the brightness, but this is what gives them that shine and that gloss. I usually keep mine around anywhere between 13 and 16. but we still need to make the adjustments because obviously you can see the selection. One of the great things about using adjustment layers in Photoshop is that each one comes with its own layer mask. So if we look in the layers palette, we can see that we have two layers. The original image is on the background layer, and directly above it is our hue saturation layer. The black rectangle with the small area of white to the right of the adjustment layer is the layer mask thumbnail, which is showing us our preview of our mask. That small area of white is the area that we've selected around the teeth with our lasso tool. So if you look at the channels, you'll see down here, if you click channels, you'll see all the different channels that we've used, and then layers, you will see the layer mask. Now, as long as that is selected and you will be able to tell that by the white bar that's around it, then we'll be alright. But we need to fill it with black, so we want to make sure that your foreground is selected in black up here, and that your background is selected in white. You want to choose your brush tool. Now you can raise or lower the size of your brush depending on the area that you're painting, and you want to use your right bracket or left bracket to raise and lower the size of the brush. You can also go up to the top and do it, but I find it easier just to press it on the keyboard. The reason that we're painting in black is because it will remove that background that we have for our pre-selection box, so that you won't see where we've selected around that area. So if you lightly paint and make sure not to hit the teeth where we've whitened, if you lightly paint, it'll bring that background back just like that, and then it'll show the integrity of the photo. So if we zoom in, which we will do again, I'll adjust the picture here. You can see the gray around. We'll just paint over that in black, and it will remove all those edit marks that we made right here, and bring back the color in her lips. And like I said, when you get in those tight spots, what you want to do is you want to shift down your brush size and just go along those lines, and it will go ahead and take care of that. Now, a lot of this has to do with what I like to do is use it on the gum lines, especially if you have a lot of gum showing. I'll go ahead and just click and fill that back in. That way it keeps the integrity of the gums, because you don't want to see a shade of white on those, and obvious adjustments for the picture. So go ahead and click on that and bring those back. And then once we have brought the original color back that we removed from our selection box, we can zoom out of the picture, and you can see she has a brighter and wider smile. Now, this is a case in which I did this to show you how bright the teeth could get. You're going to have to mess around with your own adjustment on what you think is natural or unnatural, because some people have whiter teeth. Sometimes when you take a picture, it's more in focus and it's different. But if you need to go back at any point, you can always select white as your foreground instead of black, and you can paint, and it will actually bring back whatever the selection was that you had. So you can always go back just in case you make a mistake, or so what you want to do is, once you have painted over the area that you selected, if for some reason the teeth that you have fixed are not all of them have become white, what you can do is you can paint over the white teeth to restore whitening by reselecting your layer, your white as the foreground and your black as the background, and just paint the teeth. And then that way you can ensure that you haven't made any mistakes and accidentally left a tooth that was untouched. You can also lower the opacity of the adjustment, or opacity of the adjustment layer, if you need to, and this will bring back some of the detail and some of the color. Now you can see, if I keep going down with my opacity, her teeth become original again, but if I go up, they brighten. Now, I usually like to stick this right around anywhere between 80 and around 89%, because you don't want it to be too overpowering to where it looks unnatural. And once you leave it like that, I mean, you're pretty much done. So you can see the before and the after. All you have to do is go to your adjustment layer where it says hue and saturation, and if you click the eye and turn it off, it turns off the entire layer that we've done. And you can see here the integrity of her teeth before, and then once we've whitened them, you can see just what that subtle difference has done for this picture, and bringing that that smile and that brightness to her teeth. So this has been a step-by-step on how to whiten teeth, and what we'll do is there's a lot of other things that you can make adjustments with this one, but in order to keep the video short and to the point and easy to use, I go ahead and give you the quick instructions. But what we'll do is we'll post a link with the instructions step by step, step 1 through 9, on how to do this. And once again, make sure you have an original saved of this photo. That way when you do go to save it, you can make sure and duplicate the copy, so that in case you want to revert back, you'll always have it. Now what we'll do is, once we've saved it, I wanted to show you another example of a different smile that we've had to whiten. And this one was a little bit difficult to do because there was one tooth that was bad. So I'm going to show you, when I zoom in, this one tooth here, and I'll go ahead and give you a selection around it. This one tooth was the only one in question. Now the other ones could be brightened, that's right, but she obviously has one tooth that's definitely the problem tooth. And this is the after photo. Now when I did this one, the problem with this is, you see how white they are? I had to repaint them because she's using the camera that was used was such a high grade camera that every single focal point and detail on her teeth were there. So it was a little bit more difficult to get the selection lines out of there because everything is so defined in this photo. So if you have a photo like this, you're going to want to mess around with your foreground and background, like I was explaining to you in step 5, 6, and 7, where you will need to paint over, repaint, and switch to your foreground and background. And the more time you spend with it, the better the picture is going to be. So that's how you whiten teeth and brighten a smile in Photoshop. This has been another CopyFeed TV Photoshop tutorial, and if you like and subscribe, please let us know. Leave your comments below and shoot us an email if you'd like a tutorial of anything else.